Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my friend, the Mistress of Despair, A.B. Stoddard. And guess what? The dark side strikes back. We had a good run of 6 weeks or so where it felt like maybe this thing was going to work out okay. Not no more. Not no more. I want to level set AB for the people about what you and I were just talking about before we came on the air, which is that the best case scenario is that Kamala Harris wins a clean electoral victory, and then she is able to fight off an attempt to overturn it that lasts 8 to 10 weeks. And she gets inaugurated with Republicans only controlling the Senate, at which point they will refuse to pass any legislation. And God forbid there's a Supreme Court vacancy, they won't confirm any nominations that she made. And that's the best case scenario for America going forward. The worst case scenario can get pretty bad. But that's why we're back together on the dark side. And I wanted to excavate with you a little bit from the Triumph of the Will rally last night at Madison Square Garden when Trump started talking about his little secret. We have a little secret, very strong. Me and that fellow, the little one from Louisiana. He's a very strange fellow talking about porn with his son. Don't understand it. Would you like to hazard a guess as to what the little secret is?
So Trump was smiling and he never smiles. He had a big grin on his face and he said, it looks like, first he said, it looks like the Senate will be Republican. That's going to be great. And then he said, and in the House, he and I have a little secret, he said. And I'll tell you after the election's over, but things are going to go well in the House.
And I think with our little secret, we're going to do really well with the House, right? Our little secret is having a big impact. He and I have a secret. We'll tell you what it is when the race is over.
And that's not about how many House seats Republicans hold on to or pick up in the toss-up column. That's not about the House majority. That is about either certifying alternate slates of electors that defy the popular will in swing states that Republican state legislators passed for Trump because governors wouldn't stop it at the state level and defy the popular will for him there. Or it's about a contingent election in the House. It is not about how things are going great and we have the NRCC is really on top of it and we're going to win and hold the majority. And at another point in the night, he said something like, I think that guy's going to be around for a long time about Johnson, which I think Jake Sherman or someone, longtime Hill reporter said, was it our Joe? Someone said, I don't ever recall him saying that about any Republican leader. In either chamber in Congress. Like he doesn't care about that stuff. He doesn't weigh in. The Republican Party is not of interest to him. And so Mike Johnson and him have had their talks. They've made their plans. And it was an interesting slip. I will be interested to see the next time Mike Johnson goes before a camera or walks down the hall with reporters, how he responds to this question. But I think we know what's going on.
So you were saying to me, again, before we came on, that it's going to fall to the grown-up Republicans, like the 15 of them left, right, to try to talk Johnson out of it. And this is, again, we're talking about the best case scenario, which is where Kamala Harris wins a narrow majority in the Electoral College and presumably wins the popular vote by, again, I keep going to national popular vote because I think it matters because everything is just about perceived legitimacy at this point because we're all going off script. We're all going away from what the traditional rule of law means, and we're moving into zones that are rightly considered extra legal. I think she's likely to win the popular vote by something like 2.5 points. Right. It'll be just enough to be meaningful and not enough to really make the Electoral College totally safe. And so in that world, what do the good Republicans do?
Well, the few remain. I would obviously urge them as things escalate on the ground, and they will, first at the county level, then at the state level, and then the Electoral College is meeting on December 17th. And that is when Trump would be pressuring the state legislatures to that are Republican to come up with different electors and to ratify them. I mean, essentially to give them, the seal of approval. Last time it was just, let's get some fake electors' names on a piece of paper to Ron Johnson and try to pull this off. But these would be passed by the state legislature, and the state legislatures have under the Constitution, this sort of open authority to handle electors the way that they want to. So
maybe we think this is a not settled law. Like, nobody really knows.
Right. So that will be interesting to find out at that time what Mike Johnson's interpretation is of the authority of state legislatures when it comes to electors after the vote. I think that what is happening to Mike Johnson is because I had this interesting comment from a Republican lobbyist at an event the other day. I think Mike Johnson is telling people behind closed doors that he voted for Ukraine aid at the last minute, and he does what he can to survive, but he's just trying to keep harmony, and he has a lot of challenges, and he didn't give Trump the SAFE Act, and he didn't shut down the government, and he's a patriot. This is a word that comes up, and that he's going to do the right thing. And this is obviously, you can see that when, that there are business leaders in this town already going to him saying, like, how much chaos should we expect? And somebody is being assured that, that they're going to do the best they can and they're going to do the right thing in the end. And we know that's not possible because the pressure that these people will be under will be enormous from day one at the county level all the way up to the members of Congress on January 6th. And yes, as things begin to escalate and we have a fire set at a mailbox in Washington state in a close district where there's a swing district where there's a close congressional race. Today, there will be more of this. There could be bomb threats called in to polling stations in largely Democratic areas in order to shut down voting at key times on Election Day. Then we will have the effort to overturn it. At some point, we're going to hope that the few good remaining Republicans, maybe like George W. Bush, who's somewhere silent in Texas, are going to lean on
really great still lifes right now that take real precedence. He's got a vase and an apple, and he's just really trying to get that perspective just right.
And his son, his nephew George P. is hoping that. Remember, Trump is just going to go away after this, remember? And they're going to move on to the post-Trump Republican Party. So, yeah, I think that there are going to be these...
Yeah, how's that going? For all you people out there skating to the puck of where the puck is going to be of the post-Trump Republican future, just an open question. How's it going for you, wads?
So Brian Kemp believes that there's going to be a post-Trump Republican future that he's going to lead in. I'm sure he's going to run for it. He imagines after Trump asks him to overturn the election again in Georgia and he says no again, that he's going to be running. But yes, it'll be on these people to stop violence on the ground, to try to do what they can to pressure Congress not to follow the lead of these state legislatures. And I do not have faith that they will succeed.
In Brian Kemp's defense, I don't think he does believe that there's a post-Trump future for him.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
He sees this as the end of the line and that he just wants to get out with minimum viability to make money once he's out. Mm-hmm. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But his wife certainly sure as hell voted for Kamala Harris. Right? I mean, this is...
Well, they're both going to vote for Kamala Harris.
So let me float for you what I think is coming down the pike. So it's election night. Here I am. I just got out of my DeLorean. Let me tell you about the future. Mm-hmm. It's election night. It's like 11:30 p.m. Donald Trump has just declared victory. He said, I won. And it's all murky. We don't really know. Counts are still ongoing. It's too close to call in the 3 blue wall states, et cetera, et cetera. And we get into... election day +3, election day +4. And maybe we live in a world where it really looks like Kamala Harris has won. And if that happens, as the machinery of Trump world moves to try to overturn the election, people like Mike Johnson are going to say, oh, well, we just got to let the process play out. Don't ask me. Don't ask me what's going on. I mean, he has every right to pursue these challenges and if alternate slates of electors are proposed, well, that, the courts will sort that out. And that's why we have a legal process in place to, don't ask me to prejudge this. And this all gets to whatever. And again, I've been like ringing the alarm on this for 3 years now. You can have a legal coup or even a quasi-legal coup, right? I mean, this idea that a coup has to be totally illegitimate, that's not actually right. What is legal is whatever the Supreme Court says is legal.
Exactly.
And you could easily have a world in which the Wisconsin legislature decides that they're going to send a slate of electors. And even though Wisconsin went for Harris by 100,000 votes, somebody makes up some cockamamie story about why this was illegitimate and those votes weren't real. And a Supreme Court by a 5-4 majority buys that, right?
Yeah.
And then and flips it. And so you get an alternate slate of electors. And is that illegitimate? Is that illegal? Is it extra legal? And the answer is just kind of somewhere in the middle, and we don't know, because this whole thing was on the honor system, right?
No, you're right. That technically would be a legal coup.
That would be a legal coup, right? And nobody realized this, I don't think. Right. And until Trump came in, it took somebody who had zero respect for the honor system, and in fact held the honor system in open contempt, to expose it all for being as weak as it is. And I don't know, maybe 8 days from today, 9 days from today, you and I will be here on the show, and we'll be pleasantly surprised. Kamala will have won by a little bit more than 3 points. She will have taken the 3 states she needs, plus Arizona and North Carolina. It'll look good, and we'll be like, hey, we're going to get out of this one. Whew. Thank goodness.
They'll still, okay, so if it's close, it's more dangerous. But even if it's not close, they'll still try.
Still try. Because they have to. And why do they have to try? Because in order to keep control of the Republican Party itself, the posture has to be that he won. Because the minute he says he didn't win, well, then he loses control of the party. And, as Rod Blagojevich once said, the control of a national political party is a valuable fucking thing. Right?
Yeah. And he made so much money off of the steal post 2021 that it's a business. And you're right. He has to control the party. What's interesting now is, look, we can tell they'll never back off. And so many people will dive off the diving board with them because of the way they're talking. The narrative that he is untouchable and that there's no way she can win. They're working on it 24/7 right now. And then the new one is, you can see Matt Schlapp's Twitter feed today, and there's some piece in the Washington Examiner. The new one is, how badly will Democrats go with their fraud? Because they know that they've lost, and they're going to cheat so badly because they see it coming. It's a wipeout. And, if you have enough of Trump Inc. saying this in advance, they're going to have to go along. They've stuck their neck outs on this narrative that he's invincible.
Yeah. Yeah. I was driving through over the weekend through really nice kind of rural part of Jersey, horsey country, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And, kind of rural, but not all that far from New York. And these are, a lot of 3 and 4 car garage houses, if you catch my drift, right? I mean, these are nice, sprawling places with a lot of acreage. I didn't check Zillow, but, a lot of 7-figure homes. Awful lot of Trump flags from people who I don't believe, I'm just guessing here, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm off base. I don't think they had Romney flags. I don't think they had McCain flags. I think they probably didn't even fly flags for George W. Bush, right?
Right.
But this is telling. These are not the forgotten people. These are not like poor, toothless high school graduates who, the coal plant shut down in West Virginia and then they just had by gum, I just don't know what to do. I've been left behind by the elites, right? This is not that. These are not people who they've been Republicanish voters their whole lives, and they were never really, they were there for it. They were partisans, but they were never really there for it, right? They never bought the t-shirt, got the tattoo. And now they have. And it's because of Trump. And I think it just tells you what people in America want.
I think you've said this before. It's like he's this lifestyle brand now, right? He's more popular than he was in 2020 after he tried to steal an election and overturn the government. And a guy told me the other day, my wife and I are not Trump supporters, but we just found out that our 15-year-old daughter is. And it wasn't about a policy. It was just about his dude. It was
Punk
just
rock.
about the FU. That people want to be liberated from rules and telling the truth. And why didn't we see that coming, JVL? They want to do whatever they want to do, even if it's steal an election. Okay? That's what they want. Even if they're not racist, they just want to do what they want to do, and they want to just tell everyone to fuck off. And it feels so good. And so they have to get flags, and because they're really psyched, and it's a cult. And now he has Elon, and Elon has Putin, and Trump has Putin, and that's why he's going to win.
I have a question. Do you remember, 3 years ago when the Twitter files happened and Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi and all these people were like, we finally have proof that at Twitter, the people who ran Twitter were doing these little things behind the scenes to suppress a story here and a story there in advantage of a political campaign. And this was the worst thing in the universe. I don't think I've read a piece from Barry or Matt Taibbi now that Twitter is an expressly pro-Trump platform where the guy who owns it is literally on stage with a political campaign and running turnout operations in Pennsylvania. I haven't seen that. I wonder why.
No one is upset about Elon being part of the campaign, part of the future government where he intends to wreck the government to help himself, and that they are commingling the activities of a super PAC with a campaign. No one is upset about that. It's giving $1 million away per day. They take nice, happy photos with the recipient of the large check, and everyone just thinks it's awesome.
It's the craziest fucking thing, right? I mean, it is. This is what the Jeff Bezos thing. My lone serious insight, which I think is mine, is that what it exposes is that we're actually much further down the slide than any of us thought.
Exactly.
We are much closer to late 90s Russia. This is, all of the guardrails have broken already. The oligarchs have way more power than we thought. They themselves see themselves as being part and parcel of a government and see themselves as taking shelter under a strong man. And they themselves have stopped believing in the rule of law. And that breaks into two camps. So you have one camp, like the Elon Musks of the world, who think the rule of law can't touch me. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then you have the Jeff Bezoses of the world who say the rule of law can't protect me from those people. And so I have to get with them. And that's when democracy is in terminal decline.
Yeah.
Because there ain't no going back from that. It'd be nice if Kamala Harris wins. But if she wins, it is not going to be enough to pass an infrastructure act or pass a CHIPS Act next time around. It will require very big, kind of radical reforms, which I think a lot of people aren't quite ready for.
I agree. And more importantly, if she wins and Trump, let's say, just becomes suddenly very old and is not going to run again, something happens to him, he loses his voice permanently or something, whatever. We know he's going to run again if he loses. But if something stopped him at age 81 and a half or age 80, what this period has shown the next person is that we've moved into that next stage, that the guardrails have already broken, that people are already in anticipatory obedience, and that you can step into that and be the next demagogue who breaks more things and centralizes power. Because we learned that this year. And why wouldn't someone else take advantage of that if they could, whether they're J.D. Vance or somebody else post-Trump?
I'll leave our friends with the darkest possible thought. Over the weekend, I was talking about this with somebody, and he remarked to me, what really worries me, he said, was that Trump isn't America's Putin, but that Trump is America's Yeltsin, and that Putin is the guy who comes next. And with that, the dark side will go back into hiatus for, at least another 24 hours. AB, thanks for sitting down.
Thanks, JBL.
Good luck, America.